In the beginning of the film, hundreds of workers are staging a protest against the management of the plant, demanding better wages and less discrimination. The head of the plant addresses the demonstrators using a speaker and invites a few workers' union leaders to the department to negotiate. When the demonstrators hear this, they eventually halt, and two representatives go inside the department building. A young child by the name of Sancaka is watching all of this from the top of a nearby building. Sancaka is seen waiting for his father Rudra in the following scene. It is later revealed that Rudra is one of the protesters' main motivators. When Sancaka asks him why he wants to take part in the rioting, Rudra responds that people should always try to aid those in need and oppose injustice when it occurs. He goes on to say that those who do not lend a helping hand to others lack humanity. After 3 days, the employees who went to the department to negotiate do not come back. One morning, Sancaka awakens to his parents discussing about the workers who had gone missing. Dela, Sancaka's mother, makes every effort but is unable to prevent her husband from traveling to the workplace. Soon after arriving at the factory, Rudra and other employees launch an attack on the security personnel. On the other hand, Sancaka and his mother decide to check on the missing worker's house to find out the reality. Unexpectedly, they discover him inside one of the rep's homes while his wife is faking his presence. Dela runs towards the factory, realizing it's a trap to kill her husband. Sadly, she stumbles and twists her leg while traveling. She asks Sancaka to go to the factory and stop his father because she is unable to walk. One of the workers from Rudra's group approaches him as he is fighting the security troops and stabs him many times, killing him instantly. Sadly, Sancaka discovers his father dead on the floor when he arrives to the factory. The young child weeps bitterly over the loss of his father. After some while, he becomes furious and plans his retaliation. He lets out a loud cry while brandishing a security shield. The moment he does, a brilliant lightning bolt appears out of nowhere, knocking him off balance and smashing the shield quite hard. Interestingly, that's how all the other shields there break as well. Everyone is astonished to see this, and the lightning force also pushes them away when they go to check Sancaka's unconscious body. Then, several years later, Sancaka's mother informs him that she must go to the city to get some groceries. The young child is forced to consent even though he doesn't want to be left alone. After several days, his mother is still nowhere to be found. To make matters worse, Sancaka is forced to go outdoors in quest of food because everything edible within the house has run out. The street lads are chasing Sancaka in the incident that follows. They finally catch up to him after a furious chase, and they begin severely beating him. However, just as they are ready to strike him with a big piece of wood, Agong, a different guy, shows up and defends him from the street boys. When Sancaka awakens, Agong is seated next to him in a chamber where he is sleeping. In addition to warning him to use caution around homeless children, the latter offers to teach him the fundamentals of self-defense. In order to start over, the two plan to take a train at night to a new city. Poor Sancaka is left behind while Agong, with his speed and agility, hops aboard the moving train with ease. Sancaka now finds himself living on the streets and working odd jobs as he has no one to look after him. The following scene features an adult Sancaka pacing the streets. He is currently employed as a security guard at a paper business. He follows Agong's advice and carries on with his regular life, ignoring the street fights amongst individuals. In spite of everything, he still fears lightning and hides in a specific location every time it strikes. After the action moves to a party where two people are conversing about someone by the name of Panko. It seems that this man had numerous issues as a child. They talk about how Panko hid beneath a cabinet to survive after his family was burned alive. After that, there is a flashback to Panko's uncle leaving him at a poorer orphanage where the kids are mistreated. Panko plots with the orphans to kill all of the harsh orphanage owners because he is afraid of them and is tired of the constant torture. He receives his father's money later on, and he uses it to help take care of the orphans. Returning to the present, Panko is a criminal lord who commands a sizable section of the dishonest Indonesian legislature, in addition to being in charge of an armed force of trained assassins. He comes up with a scheme to taint rice supplies with a material that harms the developing fetuses of pregnant women. Then, a big number of people demand the legislative release of an unproven antidote created by an unnamed pharmaceutical company. Two factions of the parliament are separated by the dispute. Panko and his cronies control one and are opposed to it. On the other hand, a bill to distribute it is drafted by legislators Ridwan Bari and Durga. When Durga declines Panko's attempt to shake hands during the celebration, Panko becomes enraged. Later, when Durga is on his way home, Panko's men kidnap him and his family and execute them with extreme cruelty. In the following scene, Sancaka discovers two criminals threatening Wulan, a poor woman, with money after hearing some noises coming from his neighbor's room. When Sancaka sees this, he is unable to control himself and approach the attackers. He then effortlessly defeats them by using his tremendous fighting abilities. Wulan thanks Sancaka for saving her and her brother Teddy as the thugs depart. Even more criminals attack and severely beat Sancaka during the night when he works as a security guard in the plant. They toss him from a building's top while it's pouring severely, assuming he's dead. Unexpectedly, Sancaka is awakened when a lightning bolt enters his body and goes through it. He is revived and all of his wounds are healed by the lightning. When Sancaka returns to the market the following day, he finds Wulan strategizing with the vendors about how to protect themselves from the thugs. At that moment, Sancaka is pursued by the same thugs who had earlier beaten him up. However, Sancaka uses his lightning power this time to effortlessly defeat them. When Wulan notices this, he becomes impressed and invites Sancaka to join their fight, but Sancaka declines and gets to work. Regretfully, the bunch of robbers destroyed everything and set fire to the entire market. Consequently, a distressed Wulan comes up to Sancaka and informs him that a person is effectively dead if they are unable to assist others in need. After hearing these remarks, Sancaka resolves to defend the rights of the people after recalling his late father. Then he dons a disguise and goes about facing the bad factions in the city. A little sample of his blood is taken away when he is stabbed by an unidentified assailant during one of his bouts. Sancaka feels unafraid despite this, since he is aware that lightning will heal his wounds. Meanwhile, the news broadcasts that the majority of pregnant females are suffering from a deadly disease after they started consuming the newly distributed food items. It further says that the offspring of the sick women would turn evil and will be the primary reason behind the rise in crime rates across the nation. Panko and his guys are carrying out all of this in order to market disease-specific antidotes and increase their profits. The following clip shows Sancaka preparing a special outfit for himself and learning how to manage his lightning powers. After that, he battles the many mafia factions in the city to stop them from misbehaving and threatening innocent families. Sancaka's new outfit is a superhero costume of the highest kind. He then starts attacking the goons, among them the violinist Suleiman, who was the one who started the fire in the market earlier and is a part of Panko's extensive network of orphan agents. In another scene, Aziz, Panko's security, and his companion excavate a location and take out a hidden box. Legislator Ridwan meets with other government representatives in the meantime and accuses Panko of distributing the tainted rice throughout the city. After hearing Sancaka's name in the news, they decide to team up to defeat Panko and ask for help from the superhero. Additionally, Ridwan gives the officials the command to give out the poison's counteragents. However, Adi Suleiman's corpse is shown to Pankor instead. Pankor is incensed to see him dead because as an orphan, he was under the organization's care. In retaliation for what the new superhero did to Suleiman, Pankor insists that all of the orphans get back together and battle him. The orphans begin spreading mayhem throughout the city shortly after receiving a call from their father. They start by assassinating the authorities who disapproved of Pankor's proposal. Sancaka arrives there wearing his suit, just as one of the assassins is ready to execute Ridwan, and he vanquishes him. At that point, Ridwan goes up to Sancaka and asks him to assist in rescuing the people. In the scene that follows, authorities from the government somehow came to an agreement to give the populace an unproven remedy in an emergency. Simultaneously, Ridwan gets a call telling him that Pankor owns the factory that is going to supply the antidote. After learning this, Ridwan comes to the conclusion that nobody would be able to stop Pankor from distributing the fake antidotes to the populace if Pankor is not stopped. Sancaka is the only person who can stop the cars bringing antidotes, so Ridwan gives him a call and lets him know what's going on. Interestingly, Pankor shows up at Sancaka's residence with his army of orphan assassins and directs them to assassinate him as soon as he finishes up the phone. Despite his weakness, Sancaka fights back and uses his powers to eliminate each of them one by one. Sancaka is saved when Ridwan arrives and shoots Pankor dead as he prepares to assault him from behind. People are going to get the phony antidotes somewhere else, and they could get sick or even die from them. Sancaka rides off on a motorcycle to halt the distribution truck after realizing the danger. Sancaka manages to catch up with the distribution wagon and obtain a sample of the counterfeit antidotes with the help of an enigmatic woman named Sri Asi. Then, much like he did with the shields at the start of the film, he uses his superpower to destroy every antidote vial since they all exist at the same frequency. This ultimately averts the threat and spares everyone from the lethal antidote. In the last scene, Gazul, Pankor's associate, breaks down a wall to find a secret old tomb. Subsequently, he extracts the previous secret box and adds a few droplets of Sancaka's blood which had been extracted covertly to it. Then, merging the head and body, he raises Kiwulawok, a formidable warrior from the Middle Ages, and calls him Gundala to warn him of Sancaka's impending arrival. At the end of the film, Kiwulok gives Gazul the order to lead an assassination army in order to guarantee Sancaka's defeat.